Good afternoon, this is Dr. Samarth Agarwal. I am a consultant urologist and neurosurgeon at Siliguri, West Bengal, and I am associated with Anandok Hospital, Maharaja Agrawal Hospital, Siliguri. So I am here to give you a brief overview about the condition called as overactive bladder. So what is overactive bladder? So overactive bladder causes a sudden and frequent urge to urinate that may be difficult to control. So you may feel like you need to pass urine many times during the day and night, and may also experience unintentional loss of urine. So if you have an overactive bladder, you may feel embarrassed, isolate yourself or limit your work and social life. You may be able to manage the symptoms of overactive bladder with simple behavioral strategies such as dietary changes, timed voiding, bladder holding techniques, using pelvic floor muscles exercises. If these initial efforts do not help you enough with your overactive bladder symptoms, then additional treatments are also advised. Additional treatments also exist. So what are the symptoms of overactive bladder? See, you will have there are 3-4 trademark symptoms that you will tend to have. So first is there will be a sudden urge to urinate which will be difficult to control. Secondly, sometimes you might experience unintentional loss of urine immediately after an urgent need to urinate, which is also called as urgency incontinence. Then you have a urinary frequency, which is usually 8 or more than 8 times in 24 hours. And also at night, you will have to wake up more than 2 times to urinate, which is called as nocturia. So even if you are able to get to the toilet in time, when you sense an urge to urinate, unexpected frequent urination and nighttime urination can disrupt your life. So why does overactive bladder happens? So there are 2 basic causes to it. One is the bladder function might be normal, and the second condition is the bladder function might be abnormal. So when you have a normal bladder function, what happens is there is a sphincter mechanism which tends to control your urination, the way a person holds urine. So that gets disrupted. So in women, the urethral opening is located just above the vaginal opening. In men, the urethral opening is at the tip of the penis. So as the bladder fills, so what happens is the nerve signals sent to your brain eventually triggers the need to urinate. So when you urinate, these nerve signals coordinate the relaxation of pelvic floor muscles and the muscles of the urethra. The muscles of the bladder will contract, and in doing so, they will push the urine out. So what happens is when you have involuntary bladder contractions. So overactive bladder occurs because of the muscles of the bladder start to contract involuntarily, even when the volume of your urinary bladder is low. These involuntary contractions create an urgent need to urinate. So there are several conditions which may contribute to signs and symptoms of overactive bladder. Now these include neurological disorders such as stroke and multiple sclerosis, diabetes, which is one of the most commonest cause, your urinary tract infections. There are certain hormonal changes occurring in women especially during pregnancy, abnormalities in the bladder such as any tumor or bladder stones, and the factors that obstruct the urinary flow such as enlarged prostate, or it might be constipation, or any previous operations to treat other forms of content. What type of complications can overactive bladder cause? Any type of incontinence can affect your quality of life. If your overactive bladder symptoms cause a disruption to your life, you might also have an emotional distress or depression, anxiety, sleep disturbances, or issue with sexuality also. So in some cases, treatment of these associated conditions may help with your urinary symptoms. Women who tend to have an overactive bladder may also have a disorder called mixed incontinence, where both urgency and stress incontinence tend to play their part. Stress incontinence is unintentional loss of urine prompted by any physical movement such as which increases the abdominal pressure, such as coughing or sneezing or laughing or exercising. Now, treatment of stress incontinence is not likely to help overactive bladder symptoms. Similarly, treatment of overactive bladder is not likely to help the stress incontinence symptom. So we need to differentiate what is overactive bladder and what is incontinence due to overactive bladder and what is stress incontinence. So how do you prevent overactive bladder? See, there are certain healthy lifestyle choices which may reduce the risk of overactive bladder. The commonest is maintain a healthy weight. Okay, you have to get regular daily physical activity and exercises. Yoga is very beneficial. Limit your consumption of caffeine and alcohol specifically. Quit smoking if you can. There's nothing better than quitting smoke. Manage your chronic conditions such as diabetes, I'm sure the diabetes is one thing which a person will have to bear with him or her throughout his life. So try to maintain the blood sugar levels at an optimum level. Let it not go beyond your reach. And also you have to learn where your pelvic floor muscles are and then strengthen them by doing what we commonly call as Kegel exercises. So these are exercises which contract the muscles. So what we do in this is basically there are a group of muscles which we teach the patients to contract and to hold the contraction for 2 seconds and then relax the muscles for 3 seconds. So work up to holding the contraction for 5 seconds and then 10 seconds at a time. So you can increase this time span also and do 3 sets of at least 10 repetitions each day. So these are called as Kegel exercises. These are very beneficial in patients who have overactive bladder. So let's go on to how do we diagnose and treat these conditions. So diagnosis is, of course, you have to show yourself to a doctor, specifically a urologist. So where we examine the entire medical history. We do a physical examination which includes a rectal examination and a pelvic examination. Also we take a urine sample to test for infection, to rule out traces of blood or any other abnormalities. And also there is something called as focused neurological assessment that does identify certain sensory problems or abnormal bodily reflexes. So these are all done to rule out any neurological disorders. So there are a couple of tests which we also do for overactivity. These are tests to measure the bladder function. Firstly, what we do is measure the urine, amount of urine which is left in the bladder. Then we measure the urinary flow rate, what is the flow, and then we also test a certain bladder pressure. Now, there is an investigation called as cystometry, I think which is now freely available in even tier 2 cities as well. So what happens is during this test, we tell the patient, we put in a small catheter in the bladder and slowly fill the bladder with warm fluid. Another catheter is also inserted in the rectum or in the vagina in the female. And these two catheters, a sequence of events are then told to patients to perform. And this is how the sensor, each catheter has a sensor attached to it. And this tells us how much pressure your bladder has to exert to empty itself completely. So this procedure can identify whether you have involuntary muscle contraction or a stiff bladder that is not able to store urine under low pressure. Similarly, now let's go on to treatment. We have the treatments. What we have is divided into certain behavioral therapies, certain medications, and certain surgical interventions. So, what behavioral therapies? The commonest behavioral therapy that we use for overactive bladder is pelvic floor muscle exercises, classically called as Kegel exercises. Of course, your doctor or a physical therapist would know it much better. It is a routine exercise, just like you do any other exercise commonly for osteoarthritis. So it can be done very easily at your home, in your day-to-day life, in your day-to-day business, sitting on a chair. It can be performed very easily. The second is something called as a biofeedback mechanism. During biofeedback, what happens is the patient is connected to certain electrical sensors that helps measure and receive information from the body. It teaches the patient how to make subtle changes in the body, such as strengthening the pelvic muscle floor, so that there is feeling of urgency. You are better able to suppress them. So that is how the biofeedback mechanism works. Of course, you have to maintain a healthy weight. If you are an overweight, losing weight may ease quite good percentage of your symptoms. Make scheduled toilet trips. For example, setting a schedule for toilet every 2 to 3 hours. Just get up. You can just go urinate, track to urinate at the same time every day, rather than waiting until you feel the urge to urinate. So develop these normal bladder habits that you have to avoid at least 3 to 4 hours. Of course, if there are other things, if these therapies don't work, you can go for intermittent catheterization, wherein if you're not able to empty your bladder well, we use a catheter periodically to empty your bladder. Again, this is done by the patient itself. Then there are also something called as bladder training. Bladder training in a way involves training yourself to delay voiding when you feel an urge to to urinate. So what happens is you begin with small delays such as 30 minutes and gradually work your way to urinating every 3 to 4 hours. Bladder training is possible only if you are able to tighten your pelvic floor muscle successfully. So remember again, the Kegel exercises which I talked about a few minutes back is very important and plays a cardinal role in maintaining in resolution of overactivity of blood. Of course, there are certain medications also which tends to relax the urinary bladder musculature, because these are directed at specific receptors which are present in urinary bladder. So we normally use solifenacin, derifenacin, tolterodine, oxybutynin in children. These are all very beneficial in patients who have overactive bladder. Of course, these medications come with certain side effects. The side effects include like dry eyes and dry mouth. So, but of course, you can drink water to quench thirst. This can constipation is another potential side effect. It can also aggravate your bladder symptoms. So, it is basically a multidisciplinary approach wherein all the symptoms of patients are targeted at, so that in toto we treat this condition of overactivity. If in patients in whom the medications do not work, we have certain injections which is called as Botox injections, which the layman would have heard. It is very commonly used. Now, Botox is a botulinum toxin. Classically, we use toxin A. At certain specific sites in urinary bladder, we tend to inject this botulinum toxin. It relaxes the bladder musculature. The only drawback with these injections are it has to be repeated over every 3 to 6 monthly intervals, and it takes a good 6-7 cycles for the symptoms to completely resolve. Other new techniques which have now evolved are nerve stimulation. These nerve stimulation regulate the nerve impulses to your bladder, and it can improve also overactive bladder symptoms. Specifically, what we call is percutaneous tibial nerve stimulation. There is a tibial nerve which runs through your leg into your ankle, and that can be specifically stimulated for your overactivity. So if all these treatments do fail, we have the surgery as the last resort. Now the surgery is all channelized to increase your bladder capacity. So what happens is, the way to improve your bladder capacity is where we use pieces of your bowel to replace a portion of your bladder. Of course, these are only used in cases of severe urge incontinence that doesn't respond to any other non-conservative treatment measures. And the last resort that we have is, of course, the bladder removal. We can remove the entire urinary bladder and surgically construct a replacement bladder, which is a neo bladder also, or we can bring out an opening in the body of stoma through which the urine is henceforth collected in a urinary bag. So all these are different treatment modalities for overactive bladder. This is one condition which most males and females tend to have above 60 years of age. So this was my little effort to that people come to know about these conditions. So if whenever you suffer from overactivity, please show yourself to a urologist and a neurosurgeon and take the best treatment possible. Thank you so much.